Enoch. I mean, isn't that what most would say? But not a dunderhead scholar. No, they claim that since the second section was not found in Qumran, we must throw it out. These are not honest men. They do not wish that to be recognized. Let's be clear. However, what a hypocrite. Double standard for these scholars to overlook that and yet attack First Enoch, attempting to remove an entire section they would never do with a Bible canon book, not their Pharisee canon, which they protect, of course. However, is the second section even missing in that time at all? Or is this just another hollow criticism from scholars who don't know how to research? There's no other way to say this. This criticism is utterly uneducated. If these scholars could only read, anyway, it's time to test this criticism from a scholarly community who loves to level such, but proves incapable of testing their own criticism, creating a paradigm of stupid. Let's call it what it is. See, they just leave it out there as a stumbling block, but basically, that scholar of this original illiterate thought is a Pharisee agitator, not a legitimate, sincere Bible scholar. You can't be and think this way. Oh, you can level something. That's not a problem. But you need to prove it out or you're irresponsible. That's the way that it actually should work. In this case, we will prove that this dunderhead or those dunderheads, whichever, who leveled this criticism, but were too illiterate to even read the book of Enoch, to find that, well, it endorses its own book of parables, the second section. Thus, it's not missing. Duh, dunderhead. Again, first, let's look at one version of this claim that part of Enoch was missing in Qumran from Giza Vermes, the complete Dead Sea Scrolls in English, originally published in the 50s, updated in recent years. Now, reread the actual translations here of the actual texts from this book. His commentary, however, frankly, is lousy on many levels. Now, if someone is supposedly a scholar and they say Essenes lived in Qumran, they're either liars or they're absolutely clueless and they have no idea what they're talking about. They haven't even read the Dead Sea Scrolls, or if they have, they've only done it as a scoffer. That's their problem. But he and most scholars continue this control line in complete willing ignorance. Another history completely missing in modern scholarship because, well, they'll read these but then ignore anything not in their nice little box and paradigm. A perpetual bizarro world of willing ignorance, as 2 Peter 3 warned for our time. Notice the scholarly two-step here. Appear to attest. Can you just commit to it there, buddy? I mean, it either does attest or it does not. Can you just say what you're going to say? See, he doesn't even commit to it because that's a standard occult tactic. Level the criticism, and there it sits. Because, just like a stupid blogger does the same kind of thing. They just level it, and then they just leave it sitting there because these idiots don't have the fortitude to test. I mean, it's reckless, it's irresponsible, really gross negligence. And in any other profession, these would be fired, sued, and discredited. But, well, not in the scholarship arena where this is the norm. And that's our problem with modern scholarship. We can't stand that paradigm existing in any realm. Things. I mean, that is standard scholarship 101, and it is stupid. Yet this guy can't even research and test what he's saying here, because he could test what he said so far, and he can prove that what he's saying he never should have wrote because it's wrong. It's inexcusable. Without approaching even the vaguest consensus. See, that is the problem in modern scholarship. No paradigm could be so stupid as to say that it has to have consensus in order for people to accept. So that tells you right there that rationale They apply inconsistently because what they're applying to First Enoch, they don't apply to Genesis, and that's called fraud. It's a different system and a different test, and the reason is they're lying. That's the point. Now let's do this, basically the scholar job for them, because, well, it seems like this guy can't, and he certainly can't. Well, he should have done so before writing this illiterate accusation, inconsistent with standards even that they would never apply to Genesis. But okay, let's do it. Let's test this. Try to debate that on this video. You will be muted. Our channel, our rules. There you go. Now, talk about a ridiculous, irresponsible charge from illiterate scholars. There's no debate. There's nothing to discuss on this stupid accusation from the inept in scholarship who don't test and don't prove, and it's time to call them out, and they need to stop such illiterate behaviors. I mean, what scholar could be so dumb as to overlook that? That'd be a big one to go and look up. Just saying. Pretty bad. Wow. How can a scholar miss that? Maybe learn how to read, scholars. It's really poor. Now, we know this also because Josephus in 90 AD published a list of Pharisee canon or Bible at their time for them, and their missing books found in Qumran in the temple priest canon, the only legitimate Bible. And they're forgetting that scribes copied these over for thousands of years. I mean, how do you forget that tradition? Well, they only forget that when it comes to Jubilees, Enoch, and those books that aren't in their Pharisee canon. But in the Pharisee canon, they're fine with that scribal tradition. They just forget about it. Just like they forget that Qumran is actually the biblical Bethabara. That's what they do. I'm sorry, what's missing? Huh? Learn how to read, scholars. Now, at the same time, scholars are claiming the second section of First Enoch is missing. So that is an illiterate proposition. They're just trying to skirt the issue, and it's very easy to see. Duh, scholars. No, it was not missing, scholars. Pay attention. I'm sorry, what is this about a missing section? Are they kidding? These idiots can't read, and this is just a few examples of the very obvious that one can learn from merely reading the accounts. They're parading as clowns, not scholars. When they make a dumb assertion such as this, make them prove it. Don't let them get away with just saying stuff like that and leaving it there as a stumbling block for people. Make them prove it out. The same goes for modern science and modern academia. There's a whole lot of reckless, gross negligence out there that is pumping out deception in Pharisee leaven, and that's how we deal with it. We call it out and we expose it, and it dissipates. They will not stand the test. Now, make them test their theories, lest they show themselves illiterate, and they do. In this case, this is one of the most illiterate claims we've ever seen. Yes, your KJV is a Pharisee Bible. Think about that.